Okay, so do you guys ever wake up at like 6 o'clock in the morning remembering like a name or a phrase and not being able to place where you heard it or what the context is, but it just sticks in your brain and you have to do a Google search at like 6 o'clock in the morning to figure out like what that thing is? Or are you just normal? Hi, I'm Rachel, and we've been doing some interesting experimental videos lately, and at 6 o'clock in the morning, a couple weeks ago I think it is, I, for some reason, could not get this one, like, name, sentence, fragment out of my head. Tumbles the Stair Dragon. For whatever reason, I have this bizarre memory of hearing about this, and for whatever reason, I could not remember what the hell it was in reference to. I even asked on Twitter, and about 76% of you also had no idea what it was. So I looked it up, and we're gonna get into what I found. So after doing some research, I realized that the origin of this goes back as far as 2007. And the actual story behind it is interesting, a little cringy, probably cancelable by today's standards, but you know, it's something that at least some of you remember, so we're gonna talk about it. So according to Wikifer, which has probably the most condensed version of this incident reported, this all happened on February 18th, 2007 at roughly 1 o'clock in the morning at FWA. For those who don't know, FWA is Furry Weekend Atlanta. I am assuming this is correct. If it is not, someone who was there can definitely correct me. So according to this story, an individual was ejected from a room party for harassing other members of the party and was apparently also heavily inebriated. That will make a lot of sense in a minute. After then being ejected from multiple parties, the person moved to the outdoor area behind the convention space, very mumbly and angry and, you know, drunk. After that point, we're gonna use different words than Wikifer does because I like to not have my channel in peril. After being ejected multiple times, this individual attempted self-harm unsuccessfully. If you want to know the exact type, you can Google this yourself. Apparently, once this didn't quite do the trick for the purposes of unaliving, which is what they were going for, they then threw themselves down the cement stairs. I have been to Furry Week in Atlanta. Those are not stairs you want to go Supermaning down. Ouch, pain. That probably really hurt. And apparently this was also not successful for the attempt, so yikes. Apparently once this had happened, con attendees were moved inside to contain the situation of this very drunk person who was just having a very bad day and had not succeeded in any of their unalive attempts and probably hurt a whole bunch because they had now gone down a set of stairs and tried self-harm unsuccessfully. So this individual's not having a great night and is probably not doing well. At this point, an ambulance was called. We've all been to cons. We've seen like multiple ambulances because someone's drunk and gotta do something stupid. So yeah, ambulance was called. They had neck injuries, multiple other injuries. They're carted off, as we've seen like a bajillion times at cons. That's the end of it, right? No. So, not long after this incident, I guess the furry community of the 2007s had an odd sense of humor. And I need to bring this up because I feel like some people look at older furries and just go, not realizing that at that time, 2007 specifically, our culture was not as, what's the nicest way to put this? Sensitive? Politically correct? Good? As we might be today. Our senses of humor were a little different. Concept of what's appropriate and what's not also very different. And that's gonna have an effect on this. Yikes. So the person in question had a husky fursona. However, the furry community took it upon themselves to reimagine the character as a dragon, because dragons were apparently more prone to mental instability. I am quoting that off Wikifur. That is not my words. That is theirs. So, given that they've now transformed this character into a dragon, would you like to know what they ended up calling this? Tumbles the Stair Dragon. Named because this person threw themselves down the cement stairs at FWA with the goal of unaliving. 2007? What the fuck were we thinking though? What the hell? And, you know, as with the time and things not being like Two Griffin famously quipped that it would have been funnier if this individual had done it on the escalators. Oh wow, yeah, that didn't age super well, did it? So, you know, this whole situation is not great. And interesting enough, it does have like a good ending. Despite being ridiculed, being a meme in the community, the individual who actually this happened to did return to FWA the following year, much to everyone's surprise, because they thought he had been banned, and consequently apologized for his actions and, you know, tried to make amends with the people he had hurt with his behavior. So we do like to see a character arc. However, I harbor no ill will towards this individual. And like, you know what, it was the 2007s. I wasn't really in the community yet, technically. I was still browsing DeviantArt and being very confused as to what a furry was. Hi, ma'am, hello? Okay. So I can't really shame them, like the individual this happened to. I get it. Sometimes you make bad decisions, sometimes alcohol makes those decisions worse, and at the time I don't think people were really as aware of mental health as we are now, and if someone had seen this person really suffering, there might have been a better opportunity to intervene and help them. In 2007 though, yeah, probably not. People weren't as like aware of that sort of thing. I wasn't on medication or seeking therapy. I was still trying to sort that shit out by ignoring it, so that should tell you a lot about the time. But it does kind of make me think of what a different time the furry community was in the 2007 age, where a person trying to commit self-harm is now the butt of a joke. I think we've gotten better as a fandom in understanding mental health and trying to actually help people who are having problems, but I think it is also good to take a look at where we were at that time and how we've grown. Sure, we definitely have had some incidents like in the more current days that are not a great reflection of our community, but I think it's a good opportunity to take a look at where we are now and see that we aren't making more Tumbles the Stair Dragon memes and, you know, ridiculing people who are probably mentally unstable or just really inebriated and need help, not rejection, to solve their problems. So that is the story of Tumbles the Stair Dragon. If you did not know it before, you do now. And if one of your much older furry friends makes a reference to it, that's where it came from. And you're welcome for that bit of furry history you probably didn't want to learn. But anyways, bye.